So, with further ado, do we know where all the bathrooms are and exits in case the fire alarm goes off? No, okay, that way. I'm going to do the old. Okay, so I think some of you know me from previous Platinum partners, which I won't mention, but I have now gone solo and contracting and started my own company, and it's called Cloud Analyst with a S, it's plural. And not only is it a Salesforce consultancy, but we also focus on business transformation. I truly believe half your problems with Salesforce projects start before you even get Salesforce in there. A lot of the problems, yeah, you're laughing now, but it's true. A lot of the problems are business problems, politics, companies who don't know what they really want. So I really think with Cloud Analyst, we're able to help you because we know both sides of the story. And that's enough of the propaganda of my company. And we're certified across the board, including Marketing Cloud, Consultant Exam, we know Pardot, we know Salesforce. So what is Marketing Cloud? Now, unfortunately, Adobe, Oracle, and Salesforce all call their product Marketing Cloud. So for the purpose of this talk, when I say Marketing Cloud, I'm referring to Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Okay, so that's rule number one. So let's go back 2012. There was a company out in Indianapolis who bought a company named ExactTarget, bought Pardot out of Atlanta. And then 2 months later, Salesforce bought ExactTarget and then rebranded the name to Marketing Cloud. But along the way, there were many other acquisitions. For example, we have Social Studio, Advertising Studio. All this came from Radian6, Buddy Media, and Social.com. There's even a product called Crux that will be coming on soon. That's the AI data science part of it. But for now, when you log into Marketing Cloud, you'll see an interface that looks like 1999, first of all, and you'll see 10 bars going across, 5 and 5, and they're branded as 5 studios and 5 builders. And again, each piece were all from previous acquisitions. But for today, I just want to focus on the skill sets of Marketing Cloud. There's a good article on my blog called, Salesforce-Marketing-Cloud. It talks about all 9 components of Marketing Cloud. And you can read that blog and catch up on all the different features. And the thing is with Marketing Cloud, just like your pesky maintenance exams every 4 weeks or 4 months, right? How many, right? First 3 are free at least now, but they're always improving the product, Marketing Cloud. Every cycle, every few months, there's a new feature. Like, I couldn't be talking about Audience Builder 2 years ago. That's a new feature. I couldn't be talking about a lot of products here because they keep on building and building their repertoire. So again, it's a lot of different products with Marketing Cloud. And the reason is because there are just so many different channels. No longer are we using telephone for call centers or, God forbid, posts for mail. We have email channels, we have SMS channels, and we got mobile push channels. If you download an app from a site, they can send you a push notification, right? So the way we reach people today is a lot different than it was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, or 10 years ago. The thing is, tomorrow or next month is my 10th anniversary of marketing automation or marketing technology. So it's really neat to see everyone trying to play catch up. Even when you look at MailChimp, Constant Contact, Vertical Response, Drip.io, everyone's doing Journey Builder, or a type of Journey Builder, or campaign journeys. Even Pardot does it too. So everyone's playing catch up in this space, and there's a good reason for it. So let's get to the talk. Enough of the propaganda from Marketing Cloud. And no, I'm not paid by Salesforce to do this talk, right? It's full disclosure. It's just in case. You're going to give me 20 quid after, right?
Yeah, this was a 50 last minute.
Yeah. So, what do you need to know about Marketing Cloud? in terms of Salesforce. Like I said, I did this for 10 years now. It comes down to two things, data and list. Really, that's all it comes down to. You're not here to hear me talk about, content builder, how to make fancy, responsive email templates, how to change your font, how to personalize your first name, hello first name, or hello %%, first underscore name, %%. You're not here to hear that, right? You don't want to hear about advertising studio. You want to hear about developer stuff, SA stuff, TA stuff, and it's all about data and list. And if you have these skills, hey, we're hiring. No, I'm just kidding about that. Okay, so I have only 5 slides, so I'll talk about 5 minutes on each slide, and we're pretty much done. So I keep it simple. 5. Not 4, not 6, it's 5 slides. So I want to talk about the typical roles of developer, the skill sets you need for these projects. I want to talk about getting data into Marketing Cloud. I want to talk about getting data out. And why do you need it out? You need to send lists. You need to send segments. You need to send mail out to anywhere from 5 to 60 million people, depending on how big your list is. Then I want to talk a bit about implementation, deployment, some of the things to watch out for. There's always the same questions I get at every meetup, at everywhere I go. And then lastly, we'll have time to talk about the single customer view. At my last job, every pre-sale I did, we always pitched that single customer view, right? So there's a reason for that, right? It's one-stop shopping. If you're a customer agent, if you're a salesperson, if you're a CEO, you want to see one profile, one person, every single channel, every single interaction you have. It means something. If it means a lift in revenue, then hey, you're doing your job. So this is the 5 skills or slides I'm going to talk about. So, AmpScript. AmpScript, I think those who know it, it's a proprietary programming language from Marketing Cloud. It's not so bad. If you know how to program, which I think most of you developers do, it's not bad. You can actually pick it up pretty quickly, but it is proprietary, and it takes some fiddling, but it does work. Because you don't want to send the same email to 60 million people. I know one example, I work a project for a daycare, and if a child is below 1 year old, a child between 1 and 2, and then 2 and 3, well, you can use AmpScript to program. If child is less than 1, send this coupon code. If child is between 1 and 2, send this banner ad. If child is greater than 3, send this message. So all this dynamic content that you want to personalize your email send, this is where AmpScript comes in really handy. Now, I can't talk about AmpScript without talking about client-side JavaScript and single-side JavaScript. And that's where SQL comes in. Now, I'll talk about Audience Builder a bit later, but before, say, 2 years ago, you would use SQL to host your Marketing Cloud data. It's just a simple SQL database, and you want to personalize your email. Well, how do you do that? It all comes down to lists. You have to segment your list to the right audience. And you may want to customize it, but what happens if your list is 7 tables or objects across, right? You want to check this person's, let's say you're talking about car maintenance. This person owns this car whose last maintenance, oil change was this date. If you're going across and spanning multiple objects, you need to, SQL simple join statements, right? That's all you have to do. And you can customize your email send with JavaScript. And we did this at my last job, and it worked out pretty well. The only problem is that with this JavaScript or SQL, there's a 30-minute limit on the calls to the server. You can call Salesforce and get up to an hour, but these are some of the ways, the old methods of trying to customize and personalize your email using SQL. And yeah, there's no limits to how big your SQL can be. You can be a huge I don't want to say data warehouse, but some people do use Marketing Cloud as their data warehouse. And like Salesforce, there's a limit on how big your tables are, but in Salesforce, it's the other way around. Your SQL table, if you go really, really wide on your SQL, let's say 200 or 300 fields on your SQL table, that's going to slow it down. See, where in Salesforce, it's the other way around, right? So there are some considerations when you're dealing with table size. If you're dealing with 10,000 records, a MailChimp, no big deal. But we've had experience working with data like in the gigs, 6, 7, 8 gigs of data. So you have to use SQL in the old days to segment, to join, to filter all the criteria you want. And of course, there's good old Visualforce pages, good old skill sets like Apex, HTML, CSS. And the reason why it's up here is because Marketing Cloud has a product or a feature called Cloud Pages. It was called Microsites, which was called something else, but keep changing the name. But let's say you want an unsubscription page. Let's say you're a company and you have, say, 5 different mailing lists. Well, you can, get your email, and on the footer it says, click here to unsubscribe. Oh, but which email list? You click on it, you get to a Cloud Page site, and you see, list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But sometimes that's not good enough, right? And that's where you need to have Visualforce pages to do that, what I call the landing page. Now, I would try to traditionally keep everything within Marketing Cloud, right? Keep everything within, marketing, how do you get this? One second. Good old BT here. Just close that second one. How about I just turn Wi-Fi off? Yeah, so I think try to keep everything out of the box with Marketing Cloud. That's my message. But when you have to customize, okay, you have to use Visualforce to have your solutions. And the last skill set, I think, is knowledge of APIs. So if you're a good senior developer, you know how to do API programming, that's great because let's say you're a large retail store and every time you fill in at the, what's it called here, till, cash register, cashier, till, it's called. Ask the American for British advice. At the till, and you're filling in your name, your address, your email, and it'd be nice to get an email right away saying thank you for your purchase, or why don't you, your next visit, get 15% off. All these tricks to get loyalty, to make you come back to the store, and this is where having API knowledge is very handy. So I think in this room we got a handful of experts who know how to use JavaScript, SQL, Visualforce, and API. So all this is important. So on a Marketing Cloud project, if you're a Salesforce partner, yes, I'm looking for my dev team to help out here. Any questions on skill sets before I move on to the next subject? No? So you're all important here, okay? So if this was my company and you were a developer and I got a large deployment for a large retail brand, yes, I would be looking for you to help me with this, and this. Anu?
You said that some customers use this as a warehouse, data warehouse.
Yes.
Is that recommended?
I wouldn't. Depends what hat I'm wearing. If I'm wearing a Salesforce hat, I would say use Heroku. The answer is depends. It all depends on your system of record, database of record.
What's the cost implication?
Cost. Cost and politics. You may not want to use Salesforce product for your data warehouse. It depends on who came here first, right? The old expression. So if you were having a merger and acquisition of a company, if someone has a CMS, content management system as their as their main source of truth, database of record, well, usually the parent company who bought the little company, they get what they want, and then therefore that would be the one chosen, right? So the answer is yes, it is a technical question, but yes, there is a lot of business and political sides to this.
How is storage costed? So if I have a 10+ million customer base and a weekly newsletter and I have to keep it, for example, for 6 years, how is that costed?
I think Salesforce Marketing Cloud, they don't charge you for storage. They don't charge you here, but they charge you on email sends. They keep changing their pricing package, and what they call it is the super message. So if you're buying the pro version, it comes with, say, 1 million super messages. So that means every message from an email send, every SMS message, every mobile push. So yeah, just go to the Salesforce sales page, and you'll see the pricing. But yeah, the answer is there is no cost for a large SQL database. You can have gigs and gigs of SQL, and you can have unlimited SQL databases here. You know, and you use, say, join statements to join them. But you'll see Audience Builder a bit later. Any other questions?
Totally new question. Is it more common to have 10 lists, 10 templates, and others, etc., or one huge template and one huge list without scripts? Churning through it, as you say, popping in all the right stuff in the right place.
I think the first thing you're going to learn when people take the Marketing Cloud course is what they call BU, business units. And that's the very first thing you have to decide as a business, how you want to structure your business. So let's say you're, say like Chanel, for example. You have 3 product lines, but you also serve 6 countries in 6 languages. So in this case, as a business, since no one here is a business person, we're all technical, how would you separate your business? Would you split up your org into 6 by country or location or language? Or would you separate it by product line? Fragrances, help me out here, for Chanel. Fragrances, clothing, and there you go, thank you. So I don't shop at Chanel. But see, so that depends on how you want to do it, right? So that's a good question. I mean, I can take it, okay, here's a good question. Take a vote. You're a marketing cloud consultant, you're asked to set up the Chanel business unit. Would you do it by 6 countries or 3 product lines? Countries. Who did by country? 6 countries. No countries? No. Product line?
How is the business organized?
I don't know. I don't work at Chanel, but that's a good question. See, so I've been in some deployments where we spend days arguing about how to do a BU. I mean, I think Michelle, you know, you've been on that course, right? The Marketing Cloud course.
Yes.
How long was the BU part of the course? Yeah, half a day. Half a day on arguing about BU. Do you structure like, okay, Chanel, and then you know England, France, Germany, blah blah blah, or do you do Chanel, fragrances, handbags, and makeup? Thank you. I don't wear makeup. I don't know these things. So you know, so see, here's the case. Before you even step in with Salesforce, with Marketing Cloud, with very expensive consultants, why not talk about the business, right? This is a business question. It has nothing to do with technology, right? It's a business question. How do you want to organize your company? How do you do revenue? How do you do forecasting? How do you do your month end, your year end? See, these are the things that we deal with on a regular basis, right? So that's your 2-minute answer. Sorry you're asked this.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Sorry. So, but the answer to your question isn't really hard and fast, though. It depends on if the product is globalized, right?
Yes, but you have to do it right the first time.
Right. So if you have product differentiation by region, then you might want to do region versus by product.
It all depends. I don't know. It depends on the company. I've seen all different things. I've seen installing it on one BU. It was a travel company that went bankrupt not too long ago. That was low cost. I can't say the name of it, but there was 2 divisions, beds and the other one, and they went bankrupt. Okay, not because of us, but they bought the Marketing Cloud as one BU, and then later through all the Marketing Cloud email studios and lists and segments, the CEO or CIO says, No, we gotta split this up into 2 different divisions. We want reporting 2 different ways. I don't want one BU seeing the other BU. What are you gonna do? Migrate. So you call Salesforce and you say, hey, I need a Marketing Cloud solution architect, and I need to migrate 1 BU to 2 BUs. And that's at, $1,200 a day PSS rates, and then they just go ahead and that. So that's the kind of headaches you get. You guys are the same Salesforce headaches, right? Org merges, and we get the same kind of headaches here, all because they're business problems. You had a question?
No, I was just going to say that in terms of where we might use one email with what's downstream to do dynamics, some considerations of that is like what they report on and how they want to understand
Yeah.
because one email is hard for them to see the breakdown of regions, like depending on how many points, so we have to have everything start with the end in mind.
Yeah. It's very hard to split up a single BU org into, say, 3 BUs. As Carrie said, do it right the first time. Any questions out there?
How do you put these kids, aspects, for example? Are there any resources or anything on it?
Trial and error, really. Get on a project. If you work for a platinum partner or a gold partner and you're a developer and you happen to win a Marketing Cloud project and they happen to want customization, hey, who knows AppScript? Okay, cricket sounds. Okay, who knows how to develop code? You. Okay, you're going to do AppScript.
There's a book on Amazon. I'll send it out after.
Yeah.
There's one on Social Studio too. They're all right. It's better than none.
Yeah, the thing is, the Marketing Cloud help pages is only like 3 pages on AppScript, right? It's really ridiculous. So, but yeah, trial and error. I mean, I wish I could help, but yeah, we'll talk after if you want. Any other questions?
How would you compare the maturity of Marketing Cloud compared to stable Salesforce clouds? In the way of onboarding SIs, resources, and everything else.
Depends which hat I'm wearing. If I'm wearing a Salesforce hat, I would say it's a very mature product. It's ready to go. If they're meant for medium, large companies, enterprise companies. If you're struggling for resources and expertise, yeah, you may want to get some help and get some help with some of these projects. Things happen, like Salesforce, you do have a support product. The thing is, Salesforce Marketing Cloud used to have their own help desk out in the US, in Indianapolis. Now, since April last year, everything is under one help portal, right? The help portal from Salesforce. And you got to go through all the different levels of support. Level 1 is P1, high severity, costs a lot of money. And there's level 2, level 3. So when you log in a ticket, you're at level 3. And then there's usually someone in the Philippines or India helping you. And then if they can't solve it, then it goes level 2, which is the people on the 27th floor where I work. And if they can't solve it, it goes to level 1, and that goes to Indianapolis. And that's solved in 20 minutes. That's happened before, trust me. Questions? So yeah, it's catching up. It's catching up. That's the answer. But it depends what hat I'm wearing. Okay, so let's move on to the second slide. Okay, getting data in. You got to get your data in Marketing Cloud. So it can be a standalone system. I worked on orgs where it's simple, standalone, 13 million email addresses. Some are bought, which shouldn't happen, but that's another story. And some can be integrated with CRM, Salesforce, but it can also integrate with Marketo as well, right? So, many ways to get data in. Let's focus on the Salesforce side since this is the developer group. So one way I just mentioned is the API method. You can get an API, go to Marketing Cloud, and then boom, do your email send. Got to watch out for that because when you do that, you're not tracking the email, right? If you want your email tracked, that email address or that contact or person account has to be already in your Salesforce org, right? So if you want to do an API for like a welcome email or then yeah, you'll send the email out, but you won't see if they open it, click, all that kind of stuff, right? So that's something to think about. The traditional way, believe it or not, is using FTP or SFTP, secure FTP, and it's still being used today. You can have different systems. You can use like a Redshift, Amazon, as your data warehouse. You can do an extract and FTP or zip it, and compress it, and then send it over through FTP, and that will go into Salesforce as a data extension. These are traditional ways of doing it. It still works today. See, it all depends about getting the data in. And again, it's just simple, MySQL database. Now, the last one, which is the one we use here, is the Salesforce connector. And they call it data streams, is another term they use. All it is really a synchronized data extension. And that's a two-way sync between your Salesforce org, Salesforce Service Cloud or Sales Cloud org, and it connects it to your Marketing Cloud. And it's a two-directional, bi-directional sync. But it's not real time, it's near time. It's only 15 minutes. So that's the sync you get from Salesforce. So if you have a Salesforce, org, a core org, when I say core, I mean Sales and Service Cloud. You can connect that to Marketing Cloud, and the data streams back and forth. You add a new contact in Salesforce, Sales Cloud, it goes to Marketing Cloud, and vice versa. That's one way of doing it. The other way, it's only one way. So from Marketing Cloud, you can actually send out email. So to think about, the two-way within Salesforce, but the reason why Marketing Cloud can send out one way out is because you want to do what they call trackback, or all the opens, the sends. You may want to report all that into another system. Feedback, trackback, there's different names for that, but all the information, usually within, say, 2 days of your email send it to a third party. So these are the different ways of getting data in. But before you even think about that, again, when you think about Anoop's question, you have to ask yourself, what is your database of record, system of record, source of truth? What is it? Who's going to be it? Is it going to be Salesforce? Core? Great. Heroku? Even better. Is it going to be a data warehouse? Is it going to be a CMS that a parent company had? I don't care, but just say where the DOR is, and then that's where you start your system. Then you start building your system. So that's how you get data into your Marketing Cloud. Several ways. Questions? Anish.
So the data gets replicated, or is it looked up when required? So as an example, let's say I'm trying to send email to 100 people. So does it require those email addresses to be stored in Marketing Cloud, or will it be when like 15 minutes and
it takes 15 minutes. It does a refresh. It does a synchronization. But the big challenge here is that if your synchronization or your delta is too big, it's going to do a full refresh. So you have to really make sure when you're dealing with the connector, you got to watch out that you don't have Sales Cloud Core updating every hour, because that would just trigger massive synchronization problems. So whatever you do, you got to make sure you structure your Sales Core properly so that only, say, fast-moving data gets synchronized, right? You know what I mean? Like some data doesn't change. Like for example, my name and address will never change on Salesforce, but if there's a field like data last purchase, that's something that changes, right? So that's how you got to be careful. You really have to think about your data and where it sits, how fast it's getting updated, where it's coming from. All these things come in hand. So a good solution architect should be able to figure this out. Any questions? Okay, next question. Getting data out. So I call this also known as, so you need a list for email sends. Okay, great. So now you have 6 million emails in Marketing Cloud from whatever method. I don't care what method. How do you get it out? How do you get this list out to do an email send? Well, the easiest way in the old days, before Audience Builder, was just using, you can FTP it out. You can FTP it out into another data extension. Right? FTP, it's both ways. But when I started Marketing Cloud, I felt, because I came from the Salesforce core, I learned Salesforce before I learned Marketing Cloud. The easiest way to get a list for email is to do a Salesforce report, right? Let's say you're doing a daily send for birthdays. Or here's a simple example. I keep touching the screen. There we go. So let's say every day I want to send a birthday email whose birthday is today. Well, I do a Salesforce report, list all the people whose birthday is today. I get a report, say 5,000 people. Well, that report becomes my list for sending. Then tomorrow, I want to do the same email to birthday who's tomorrow. Well, again, report, email tomorrow. Okay? Very simple, straightforward. Single send, boom. There's a product called Automation Studio that does that for you, that you can just program and do that for you, simple. Another way is, again, SQL and segmentation. You can use SQL and do as crazy join statements as you want. You know, everyone who, like say Ticketmaster, for example, anyone who lives in London, who's within an hour drive or commute to O2 Center, who likes Adele, who likes her kind of genre of music, who bought from Ticketmaster within the last year, who has an active credit card on file, who likes Adele, and just keep doing join. Boom, what's your answer? A blob of, X thousand emails? Great. That data extension is now your list for email send. So that's another way of doing it. Any questions so far before I keep going? Okay. But 2 years ago, they introduced Audience Builder, and it's really a glorified segmentation for Salesforce. It's an extra product. It's expensive. It has limits. It has limits, as we know, right? And it's great if you know exactly who you want to send your email to. Just like my Ticketmaster example, if you have your data properly organized in Marketing Cloud, in the SQL, in the master file, master DE, you can run an audience builder, the same thing I said, London, O2 Center, credit card, and then audience builder can easily send that list to the group. Hey, Adele's coming back, or whatever music is coming. Yeah, and then that's really it. And the last part is using your Salesforce connector, extracting data from Salesforce, and that whatever way you want to get it out through report, that becomes your list for email sends. So it's as creative as you want to be if you know exactly who you want to target your email send to. And that really is the way to get data out. But again, like Anoop says, watch out for your database of record, because if you got a CMS, let's say you have a website, a simple website in Joomla, and you have a simple community website, and you have a login ID there, but you also have your Marketing Cloud and Salesforce core synchronized, well, that's fine, but someone's got to keep track of the two systems. So please watch out for your database of record to make sure you don't get out of sync. And the reason why I say that is because if on one system someone unsubscribes, you better make sure the other system has unsubscribed as well. Because the last thing you want to do is send an email to someone who specifically does not want your email, who really opted out on your email. And in today's world, like the gambling industry, or with next May, the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, next May, yeah, you'll be in a world of hurt when you send emails to the wrong people after next May, especially in Europe. Questions on getting data out? No? Yes, first.
Is how much is in pushing the data? So if you wanted it to reach into your source of truth every day of people's birthdays, is that Marketing Cloud taking in, or is it Salesforce or the source of truth exploring out for the single place?
That's a good question. In this case, I would have Marketing Cloud push it out, because you can, yeah, because Marketing Cloud can push it out, yeah. But the APIs are very rich in Marketing Cloud. With Pardot, it's very limited. But I know with Marketing Cloud, it's quite robust. So whatever you want to pull out of Marketing Cloud, you can. But that's using APIs. So unless you have a skilled senior developer who can do that. Otherwise, just try to use as much out-of-the-box functionality in Marketing Cloud. That's my lesson today. You know, don't try to get fancy. If you have to get fancy, fine. Question in the back?
You already did some of that. Do you still need help from Salesforce to set that up? Do you set that up?
Okay. Okay. This is being recorded, so I'll be politically correct here. With Salesforce Professional Services, they have 3 protected products that you have to use Salesforce PSS on your first 3 projects. One of them is Journey Builder, one of them is Audience Builder, and I believe the other one is Social Studio. So yeah, so the answer is yes. Well, first of all, yes. If you bought it, they cannot say no to you if you want to use Audience Builder or Journey Builder on your own. They can't say that to you, right? Well, maybe they can, but anyway. But you're advised to use a platinum partner, gold partner, who's accredited for those protected products. Okay. I'm going to be in deep trouble with Salesforce after this talk. Okay, any questions on getting it out?
Is there any kind of Einstein integration?
Yes, it's called Crux, but it's not part of my talk.
Right.
But if you come to our talk, if you come to the Salesforce Marketing Cloud user group in June, we may have a talk on Crux, pending. Just a bit of propaganda. Okay, the last 2 slides. I'm taking up a bit of time here. I don't want to okay, for time. So, implementation. Okay, the worst thing about Marketing Cloud is that there's no dev org. That's However, which Burak can attest to, you can create what I said, the business units, right? Remember I talked about business units? Well, if you are like a platinum partner and you have a dev org, you probably have access to multiple BUs. So what you do is that you get kind of like Burak to create a sub BU, and you can set that up with its own logins, its own permissions. It's very secure. You cannot see across BUs. So that's your back door to getting access to Marketing Cloud. The other way, Michelle, is to take a course, a paid course, and you get a training org for 60 days, if they, or longer. Depends how lazy they are to disable you. Yeah, so that's the only thing with Marketing Cloud. But the beauty about this feature with multiple BUs is that you now can connect multiple Salesforce orgs. Before, it used to be a one-to-one relation. One Salesforce org, one Marketing Cloud org, connector, boom. But now with multiple BUs, you connect to multiple Salesforce orgs, or even connect to dev orgs as well. So, moral of the story, just make friends with people who have access to Salesforce Marketing Cloud.
There's still one Salesforce org to one BU, or there could be multiple Salesforce orgs to one BU.
No, one Salesforce org to one BU, but then if you have a sub BU, you can connect another org and another, you know, so most, I think partners get 10 BUs, I think, maybe it's 10. You can get 10 BUs, I think, in Platinum Partner, and so you can create 10 different Salesforce orgs. So you can have a demo org for one vertical for your company, another demo org, another BU. But it's a lot of setup. You gotta set up different logins, different content, different banners, different email sends, get data in, get data out, right? Every time we do a demo, it's a lot of work to get a demo ready for Marketing Cloud, which is why when we try to do demo, if the deal's not worth a certain amount in pounds, forget it. It's not worth it, right? I'm not gonna spend a week on a demo that I'm not gonna get, right? So I'm not being a salesperson here, I'm just being realistic. Yeah.
Why are they so protective of dev orgs and trial orgs? I mean, that's been a problem for years now.
Yeah.
Even for big platinum partners, Salesforce partners, it's hard to actually get access to people to play around with it.
I'm in trouble enough already with Salesforce with this talk, so we'll say that for off the record. Again, BUs are really expensive. They're £20,000 per annual for a BU if you have a professional edition. And the last slide, I need to rush up. I see a cane being yanked at me here. Watch your storage limits, especially in Salesforce. And I'm referring to Salesforce storage limits because the thing is, with the single customer view, if you're tracking all your data, every single email send, every single campaign, every single open, every single click. If it's tied to a campaign, did it bring uplift to the revenue? If you're pushing all that data back into Salesforce, you know it's a world of hurt, right? Each record in Salesforce is 2K, and so and you know the calculation of how big your org is. From my experience, you gotta watch out for limits is probably one tip. Marco.
Let it support all data, so you can just see it on a customer without actually being stored inside of Salesforce.
Well, the problem is that the Marketing Cloud reports are just too generic. It's a simple, it's like MailChimp, right? Open, sends, you know. But it's only when you need to bring back data, more meaningful data, back to Salesforce, that's where you can get tricky. And you gotta really watch out your storage limits.
No, but my point is, unless you really have to do some process inside of
Yes.
all the data, you don't really need physically in Salesforce.
Yes.
You need to know that something happened to get 360 view.
Yes.
So you don't physically have to store it.
Correct.
You just have to display it.
Yeah. Back to my first talk, it's all about business processes, right? It all depends on what you want to see, right? It's nothing to do with technology. It's all about what do you need to see to do your business. What data do you need to see in Salesforce to make correct decisions to get more uplift in the email sends? And that's not a technology question, that's a business decision. So, that's okay, trust me, I'm done with my talk. One little piece of propaganda. Kerry Townsend, myself, and Phil Walton, we are part of the London Marketing Cloud user group. This URL is the long URL. It's a splash page. If you're interested, our next one I think is Tuesday, June 6th. Not sure the venue, but if you really want to know more about Marketing Cloud, please sign up, talk to me, talk to Kerry after, and we'll get you in. Is there anything else? I'm running out of time, so this is it. You can contact me at jimson@cloudanalyst.com. The S, plural. I'll be here at the break. I think he needs to set up. Any questions on Marketing Cloud, feel free to talk to me. Great, thank you.